A pleasant evening to everyone. Hello to our Facebook and YouTube viewers. Hello from our students from various universities here in our country. Hello, guys. Good evening and welcome all to the StackLeague Microsoft Tech Session Cloud 101. I am Isai and I will be your host for tonight's event. So, hello, everyone. You may still invite your friends and classmates to join with us, your colleagues to join with us tonight. All right. So, hello, everyone. So, before we start, I would like to remind everyone that if you have questions during the talk, we would like to encourage you guys to type in your questions in the comment section, and we will be addressing them by replying in the comment section. So, we have our Microsoft team here with us tonight to answer all of your questions. So, again, if you have questions during the talk, please type in your questions in the comment section. And of course, before we dive into tonight's session, we would like to give you an overview of Stack League. Casey, our growth associate, will help me with that. Casey?
Thank you, Isai, and good evening again to everyone. Welcome to another tech session. We have back to back sessions for this week, and welcome to the StackLeague Microsoft session. Again, I am Casey. I will be sharing with you what StackLeague is all about, especially if this is the first time you have heard of StackLeague. Now, first and foremost, what is Stack League? Stack League is the Philippines' largest online programming league, and our mission here is to develop programming leaders that inspire a nation into coding. Now, this tournament is powered by StackTrek's fully automated talent analytics and assessment platform. Now, we are already in our second competitive year, and Stack League wouldn't be possible without the support of our partners. We are very fortunate to be supported by the top companies in the industry. So we have here our silver sponsor, Coding Chiefs, and bronze sponsors, Microsoft, of course, Dell Tech Systems, Apper.ph, and Recruit Day. We also have our media partners, and here they are. We have SparkUp, Apps Gadget, What's Up Pilipinas, Corner Magazine PH, Androidist, Megabytes, Backend News, Bluewing, and Manila Republic. The same goes for our community partners who help the league reach as many programmers in the country as possible. So here are our Stack League community partners. Now, next question. What benefits do you get in joining Stack League? So, this pioneering programmer league was launched last year, March 16, and is now gathering over 10,000 tech talents across the country to test their leadership, perseverance, and coding skills with a promise of nationwide media recognition, lots of prizes, thousands of tech job opportunities, and access to invitation only events such as this one. Now, the league's year round cash prize pool is already at 10 million pesos. And this is for the whole duration of the competition. This is where we will be getting all your rewards and prizes. And next is we have here the highlights of Stack League. One of them is the weekly stack race for both individual and team categories. Now, each week, the top 10 challengers and the top 3 teams are announced all across Stack League's official social media platforms. And this is to recognize the challengers who stay on top of the rankings. And apart from this, we also have the Stack League featured programmer campaign. So here we have the weekly top 10 challengers and the top 3 teams. They are going to be featured on Stack League's website and our social media channels. And in this part as well, you will get to know more about our challengers and our teams. Also, Stack League will be hosting numerous tech and career sessions all throughout the year. Now, aside from this, there are many exclusive training available for ranking up to the next challenger levels. And of course, these events and training are all for free. So we hope you will be able to uh, grab on this opportunity. Next is we have the Stack League Ambassador Program. Now, this is a year round initiative to reward Stack League challengers who go beyond the competition and inspire the nation into coding. Now, to tell you more about the Stack League Ambassador Program, here is a short clip for you. And there you have it. That's the Stack League Ambassador program. And congratulations to Dominic Lopez for being the Stack League Ambassador for February, winning the 3,000 pesos cash prize and, of course, the Stack League t shirt. Now, if you want to be the next Stack League Ambassador and win the cash prize and t shirt, the program is now open for March. And we are actually nearing the end of March already. You can find the full mechanics at our website, or you can go to bit.ly/StackLeagueAmbassador 2022. Now, let's proceed to the ranking system and the competition itself. Now, there are 5 supported programming languages in Stack League. We have JavaScript, Java, Python, C Sharp, and PHP. This is then how the ranking system works. After you sign up, you start at the bottom with 0 points, and all you need to do is solve as many challenges as you can and earn the corresponding points. So the more points you earn, the higher your ranking goes. And once you have accumulated enough points, you can now get to the next level challenges where more opportunities are unlocked for you to access. So there are 3 challenger levels here. We have the bronze, silver, and gold levels. Now, the new thing about this year is that every time you unlock uh, the challenger levels, you will get a reward. So once you unlock the bronze level, you will get 100 pesos. Once you unlock silver, you get another 100 pesos. And once you unlock the gold level, you get the 300 pesos. So all in all, the maximum prize you can get for unlocking these challenger levels would be 500 pesos. Now, we also have the Stack League Treasure Chest team category. So here, each winning team will receive 1,500 pesos cash prize. So that's for each team. And this was opened last February 22 and will end this Saturday, March 26. So this week will be your last week to earn more points and be one of the top 3 teams to get this prize. And of course, we have the individual category as well. So the treasure chest in individual category, here we will have the top 10, the weekly top 10 challengers will receive the 500 pesos cash prize. And this was also opened last February 22 and will end this Saturday as well, March 26. So again, this week is your last chance to win these prizes for the treasure chest. Now, don't worry. As we are approaching the end of Treasure Chest, we are very excited to announce the Stack League playoffs, which is kicking off this March. So, the Stack League playoffs is a single elimination tournament featuring all monthly qualifiers, where all the top 10 challengers will automatically be invited to the monthly qualifier rounds. Now, I have another clip for you for the playoffs this year. you have it. So that's the Stack League playoffs. Now, the monthly qualifiers, top one will receive 5,000 pesos, and the top two will receive 3,000 pesos cash prize. And of course, both of them will advance to the qualifier pool. Now, again, the first monthly qualifier round will be on March 26th. That's the Saturday at 10 a.m. You can watch our challengers compete via Facebook, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about the mechanics, just go to bit.ly/StackLeague Playoffs 2022. And that's it for the overview of Stack League. Just a quick but very important reminder that as a year round tournament, Stack League is looking for the best challengers that can stay up in the ranks and become programming leaders for the long haul. All right, so make sure you earn those league points right now. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you very much again and see you in the league. Back to you, Isai.
Thank you so much, Casey, for giving us a short introduction of Stack League. So, for everyone who are joining us tonight, I would like to invite every one of you to create your Stack League account now. So, grab the chance to win in our playoffs and in all of our upcoming events. Thank you so much, Casey. So once again, I would like to remind everyone who are with us tonight that if you have any questions regarding the talk, please type in your questions in the comment section and we will be addressing it at real time, right? By the way, we will not be doing a live Q&A session after the talk, so be sure to type in your questions at the comment section during the talk. All right, so let us not delay any further. So I would like to introduce to you our resource speaker, the Azure Business Group Lead for Microsoft Philippines, Miss Anne Garcia.
Everyone, I'm Barbara Ann Garcia, Azure Business Group Lead at Microsoft Philippines, and welcome to our Cloud 101. Today we will be discussing the new normal, the business priorities that every organization has, what is cloud computing, the benefits of it, the different cloud deployment models, Azure overview, cloud economics that you need for your company, and financial considerations. Now, this is a view of pre-COVID scenario for some of us, and this tells us that not all companies were ready to adapt to digital transformation until COVID-19 hit us. Now, the years away digital transformation plans has been done in some cases in less than 2 months. In terms of business, this is the world we live in today. Merchants, restaurants, and other businesses have limitation in terms of number of capacity they can accommodate, as well as the number of hours they can operate. Work from home setup. So we have these companies as well that are fully working from home that needs to be online and can still function by being able to access internal files securely while working remotely. In terms of mobility, similar to those other businesses, transportation industry also has limitations in terms of the number of people it can accommodate. And this setup is here for almost 2 years now. Clearly, this scenario shows us that this is the new normal. So the question is, are we ready? In 2018, Gartner launched a survey for CEOs to identify their top priority in the business. And the slide that you are seeing here is the result. The respondents cited technology enablement or IT related or technology is their number two priority. When asked to consider productivity and efficiency actions, CEOs were much more inclined to think of technology as a tool. 47% of respondents mentioned technology as one of their top two ways to improve productivity. And now, this is the result of a new survey that was recently conducted for CEOs. Technology is their number one priority to ensure that they can overcome business challenges, still reach their market, can also make decisions much even more faster than before, and reduce on cost by adapting to digital transformation. Clearly, CEO's priority is evolving. But what is cloud or cloud computing? How does it differ from from the current setup that we have? A big part of the digital transformation is the cloud computing. What now is cloud computing then? So cloud computing is the delivery of computing services, including servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the internet to offer faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. Microsoft considers cloud computing to be something more. It is the synergistic effect you get when a collection of devices use the network to pool resources to work together. You can see this is in large data centers today, where servers work together seamlessly to absorb more traffic and respond dynamically when something breaks, all or without requiring IT personnel to intervene. The ease of access, security, scalability, and reliability that comes from having all these pieces working together ends up being greater than the individual parts. In short, cloud computing is about having data centers, devices, and applications working together better than they had before. Cloud computing uses the power of the internet to connect endpoints and devices, resulting in seamless user experiences at a very cost effective prices. To put it in another way, cloud computing is a way to rent a computer power and storage from someone else's data center. You can treat cloud resources like you would like your own resources or data center. When you've done this using those, you give them back. You're billed only for what you use. So it's like when you're done using it or you're done using this storage, you can give it back. So there, you will only be billed for what you use. So instead of maintaining CPUs and storage in your data center, you rent them for the time that you need them. The cloud provider takes care of maintaining the underlying infrastructure for you. The cloud enables you to quickly solve your toughest business challenges and bring cutting edge solutions to your users. Now, this is the traditional setup prior the cloud journey. I know some of you can relate. Hardware has to be bought, set up, secured, and maintained. It takes up space, uses electricity, and requires cooling. It periodically goes down and requires patching, and by virtue of being on premise, it is vulnerable to disasters such as power outages, floods, and lightning. In the cloud, all of those costs and headaches becomes Microsoft's to deal with. And as you move forward or as you move further to the cloud, you realize more savings in effort on the part of your IT staff. So, what are the triggers and benefits of cloud computing? Okay, so the triggers of the companies are currently businesses are maintaining a physical data center with hardware and software that needs to be renewed and refreshed. This entails longer time to identify vendors, sizing, costing, and bidding process. With cloud, you need not to worry on these as you have your virtual machines in place in minutes, getting solutions to market faster than the usual. In terms of value, nowadays business is already looking at reducing costs. Note that in some scenarios, there are hardware that are either idle or has not been used, but it's there sitting in your data center. Contributor of cost is also renewal of data center lease, replacement of outdated hardware and software, maintenance, and ensuring that data are secure. So purchasing a firewall and other cybersecurity solutions, etc. And there are scenarios that companies need more immediately to adapt to the changes that has been happening in our environment. With migration to cloud, companies can already see the value of scaling in no time with the model of pay as you go or pay for the only usage you use. From capex to opex, making it more agile, and IT team can focus on innovation more aligned to their vision for the company. For enablers, cloud providers share the responsibility in the migration phase, from assisting and guiding the companies on the items to consider prior adopting to cloud, providing the migration tools and the cloud programs and offers. So credits to help accelerate the migration of our customers. We focus on several core benefits of moving to cloud: economic benefits, financial benefits, and IT business transformation benefits. Economic benefits are the principle that shift when you go from an on prem architecture to a cloud architecture. Moving from on prem to Azure provides the ability to shift from elastic to static, to optimize your capacity, and to reduce risk inherent in trying new architecture and services. Financial benefits are the structural financial changes that occur when shifting to the cloud. We will discuss in more depth later in the presentation, but its core we are able to reduce our fixed costs and have more dynamic and appropriate financial environment. Finally, IT and business transformation is tied up strongly to the agility and personnel productivity that are impacted when a customer migrates to the cloud. So what are the cloud deployment models that we can have or that we can use? These are the different types of cloud deployment models. On the leftmost is the on-premise setup or cloud potentially be your this can potentially be your private cloud where the IT team of the organization manages it. For infrastructure as a service or which we call IaaS, you are responsible for managing the operating system, data, and application. IaaS helps you to extend resources rapidly to meet the spikes required for your application. It's used in the following scenarios. So number one, could be in the migrating workload. So move existing applications to the cloud. Next is test and development. We can quickly set up and dismantle test and development environment. So IaaS makes scaling development and testing environment fast and economical. In terms of storage, backup, and recovery, it simplifies the planning and management of backup and recovery systems. Website hosting could also be one. So it's less expensive than traditional web hosting that we have. In terms of performance, it's high performance computing. Clusters of computers that can help solve complex problems involving millions of variables or calculations. Big data analysis for massive data sets that requires a huge amount of processing power. Now let's move on to platform as a service or what we call PaaS. So for platform as a service, it's less user management. The operating systems are managed by the cloud provider, while the user is responsible for the application and data that they run and store. PaaS offers all the functionality you need to support the entire life cycle of web applications, from building, testing the applications, deploying the source code, managing, and updating within the same integrated environment. So it can be used in the following scenarios. So development framework, a framework for creating or customizing cloud-based application. For analytics or business intelligence, you can find insights and patterns and predict outcomes to improve business decisions. Now, for software as a service or what we call PaaS, this is the least amount of management. The cloud provider is responsible for managing almost everything and end user just uses the software. Um, Serverless computing is also one. So it functions as a service as well. You simply deploy the code with a serverless platform and it runs at high availability, dynamically scales up and down to meet the demands of each workload within a second. A paper execution model that charges sub-second billing only for the time and the resources required to execute the code. So to better understand the different models, here is a view of which personas will the cloud model benefits from. So on the orange cloud that you will see that these are the end users we have in the organization. The users are accessing HR tools, sending emails, working on billing and billing reports, CRM and DRP. While on the blue cloud, the users are typically the data scientists, the data analyst that gathers information to analyze the results of the past and predicting the future to make sure that business leaders can make sounding decisions appropriate to the changing environment. On the green cloud, users are mostly the IT team who manages the infrastructure, networking, storage, security, etc., to ensure everything is running well. So those are the personas of every cloud deployment that I have discussed with you earlier. So these are the end users of those setup. Now let's go to the types of cloud. So there's three types of cloud. On one end of the cloud computing spectrum is a private cloud. As the name implies, private clouds are developed for use by a single company. Corporations who want to improve their own internal services may opt to deploy a cloud behind their corporate firewalls. Employees gain the benefits of a private and internal service-oriented IT environment that is optimized for performance and cost in private. Companies maintain absolute control over their data and systems, but by their IT department. This is the this is wholly responsible for, or the IT department is wholly responsible for maintaining the health of their private cloud. Microsoft offers a solution similar to this, where IT ownership is shared between the company and Microsoft, and the company has more control over their cloud services. Now we have hybrid cloud. Resting in between public and private clouds is a hybrid environment that can use aspects from both. Hybrid clouds typically maintain some private services or applications behind the corporate firewall, while opening up other services to the public cloud, either business partners or customers. So the last one, or the last type of cloud that we have, is a public cloud. A public cloud is what most people commonly think of when discussing cloud computing. This type of computing, where third-party cloud service providers offers services to their customers, who can be anything from end user consumers up to enterprise class corporations. As previously discussed, the key aspects of this type of cloud computing is the ability to reduce infrastructure costs and address capacity and scalability concerns without having to purchase the infrastructure or worry about systems maintenance. So now let's go to Azure overview. For Azure overview, let's actually start off with Azure regions. I would like to highlight that Microsoft Azure has 66 regions globally. We have the most number of regions amongst all cloud providers that can support your requirement, because our ultimate goal is to meet you where you are. Now, in terms of security, Microsoft have invested over $1 billion each year on cybersecurity with 3,500 security professionals to ensure and guarantee our customers that we are protecting your cloud environment. Hybrid, largest geographical footprint of any cloud provider with more than 60 plus regions. Lastly, in terms of being compliant, Azure has 90 plus compliance certification in total globally. Here you will see the different compliance certifications that we have for your reference. There are many components of the intelligent security graph, but some of the key teams working with it, you may have heard of Cyber Defense Operations Center or CDOC. The Microsoft Cyber Defense Operations Center is a 24 by 7 cybersecurity and defense facility that unites our security experts and data scientists in a centralized location. Advanced software tools and real-time analytics helps us protect, detect, and respond to threats to Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, products and devices, and our internal resources. Digital Crimes Unit or DCU, a team of legal and technical experts who worked with law enforcement agencies, including Europol, the FBI, Interpol, academia, and global government agencies and commercial customers. So we also have cyber hunting teams. Microsoft's blue teams are that are constantly hunting for adversaries on our enterprise and cloud services environments. Malware protection center, or what we call MMPC. So this is Microsoft team responsible for the world's largest antivirus and anti-malware service, who is committed to helping Microsoft customers keep their computers secure and quickly respond to malware outbreaks by continuously gathering and analyzing data and working with organizations inside and outside Microsoft. When we go to Security Response Center, Microsoft team that identifies, monitors, um, responds to, and resolves security incidents and vulnerabilities in Microsoft's software, services, and devices. Leads cross companies, coordinating security response for highest severity events, and partners with external organizations for coordinated cross company and government response. All of the learnings from these teams working together teaches us how to make our products more secure as well as better protect customers near real time. The asset you have to protect are broken down into four main categories, which you see at the bottom. So for identity, critical element to security as well as assurance are based on authentication and authorization provided by identity systems. For apps and data, the source of business value, whose confidentiality, integrity, and availability must be protected. So for infrastructure, a critical security dependency for apps and data that adversaries are exploiting to get at them. So for devices, the front line of the security battle that collectively protects access to all of your assets. Several capabilities have integrated threat intelligence turned on default, protecting our customer against threat. Smart Screen, for example, built into an Edge and Internet Explorer to provide powered protection against attack websites or downloaded applications and malware hosted on legitimate websites. Now, for Windows Update, um, updates Windows software and also removes top malware threats from PCs each month. So we also have active protection services, or what we call also MAPS, cloud-powered malware detection built into Windows Defender that significantly increases detection of advanced malware. Additionally, Microsoft has a large number of security capabilities to protect your data center and identity assets. So examples include conditional access, which restrict access to data and applications using many factors, including authentication strength, device health, security, and user role. Cloud app security also addresses shadow IT issues by enabling you to discover corporate data stored on sanctioned and unsanctioned cloud services, then establishing, customizing, and enforcing policy. When it comes to event management, get security and operational health insights into your own premise and into your own on premises and cloud hosted assets. So, right management, or what we call RMS, apply policy to documents and data to enforce using strong encryption and enable users with simple integrated controls built into Office apps, SharePoint, and Exchange online and on premise. We also have Key Vault. Key Vault manages and protects critical keys that your enterprise security depends on with strong hardware rooted protection and convenience and availability of a cloud service. Security Center, or what we call ASC, get deep insight and detailed visibility into security hygiene for Azure hosted virtual machines. Advanced threat protection. Cloud powered email filtering service that helps protect against malware in email. It protects against links as they click, as well as detonating attachments in a virtual machine to protect against well hidden malware, and actually many more. On our Azure data center, an Azure data center is a unique physical building that contains thousands of physical servers in its own power, cooling, and networking infrastructure. These data centers are located all over the globe. As of November 2020, there are over 160 plus Azure data centers worldwide. It is these data centers that are building blocks of global Azure infrastructure about business continuity. So now, what is an Azure region? You may ask. So simply put, an Azure region is a set of data centers that are connected through a dedicated low latency network. If you ask how many data centers does a region contain, well, we do not have the fixed number. It varies. There are regions of different sizes. A region could be made up of one data center or multiple data centers. The point is, an Azure region is a group of one or more Azure data centers. As of this course recording, Azure has 66 regions worldwide. You have the flexibility to deploy your application and data to any Azure regions you want. You can even deploy across multiple regions to deliver cross-region resiliency. Now, this is the Azure protection options for all scenarios. So, an Azure availability zone is a unique physical location within an Azure region. Each availability zone is made up of one or more data centers with independent power, cooling, and networking. Not all regions have availability zones. Regions that support availability zones have a minimum of three separate zones to ensure resiliency. If one of the availability zones has gone down for let's say some reason, we still have our applications and data available from the rest of the two availability zones. There is a physical separation between each availability zones, and it is this separation that protects our application and data from data center failures. With availability zones, Azure offers industry best 99.99 virtual machine uptime (SLA). An Azure region consists of a set of data center deployed within a latency defined perimeter and connected through a dedicated low latency network. This is to ensure that Azure services within an Azure region offers the best possible performance and security. A regional pair consists of two regions within the same geography. Azure serializes platform updates across regional pairs, so ensuring that only one region in each pair updates at a time. So it's like our planned maintenance. So if an outage affects multiple regions, at least one region in each pair will be prioritized for recovery. Some Azure services take further advantage of paired regions to ensure business continuity and to protect against data loss. Azure provides several storage solutions that takes advantage of paired regions to ensure data availability. So, for example, Azure Geo Redundant Storage, or what we call GRS, it replicates data to a secondary region automatically, ensuring that data is durable even in the event that the primary region isn't actually recoverable. Note that not all Azure services automatically replicates data, nor do all Azure services automatically fall back from a failed region to its pair. In such cases, recovery and replication must be configured by the customer. Now, you might ask, can I select my regional pairs? So the answer is no, because some Azure services rely upon regional pairs, such as Azure's redundant storage. These services don't allow you to create new regional pairs. Similarly, because Azure controls planned maintenance and recovery prioritization for regional pairs, you can't define your own regional pairs to take advantage of these services. However, you can create your own disaster recovery solution by building services in any number of regions and leveraging Azure services to pair them. Now let's talk about resiliency. Resiliency is a system's ability to recover from failures and being able to continue to function. It's not only about avoiding failures, but also involves resolving or responding to failures in a way that minimizes downtime or data loss. Because failures can occur at various levels. So it's important to have protection for all types or based on your service availability requirements. Resilience in Azure supports and advances capabilities that respond to outages in real time to ensure continuous service and data protection assurance for mission critical applications that requires near zero downtime and high customer confidence. Azure includes built-in resiliency services that you can leverage and manage based on your business needs. So whether it's a single hardware mode failure, a rack level failure, or a data center outage, or a large scale regional outage, Azure provides a solution that improves resiliency. So for example, the availability sets ensure that the virtual machines deployed on Azure are distributed across multi-isolated hardware nodes in a cluster. Availability zones protects customers' application and data from data center failures across multiple physical locations within a region. Regions and availability zones are central to your application design and resiliency strategy and are discussed in greater detail later in this slide. So in my previous slides, you will see that how are we protecting the data or your cloud environment because that's our primary objective, and that's our primary that's our priority as your cloud provider. Now let's move on to cloud economics. So this is our cloud economics overview. So one thing that also keep in mind that there certain businesses value cloud adoption and they view it from different perspectives. So with respect to technical evolution and benefits as well as financial, but often the value of the cloud extends even beyond cost. And that's always something to keep in mind. Some of these aspects are hard to quantify or measure, meaning it's hard to create a KPI around potential scalability or flexibility aspects of the cloud. But there's benefits that you realize over time. On this particular slide, we wanted to share a couple of quotes from customers that represent some of those less than quantifiable benefits. They are absolutely benefits of moving workloads to cloud, but they're harder to quantify, and they may be outside of the scope of the business case or a financial plan. If you look at like the first one, for example, it really talks to the point of high availability and increased security. For example, when you move a workload to the cloud, you get these additional security aspects like multi-factor authentication and some other tools, resources that are inherent in the cloud infrastructure that are challenging and costly to deploy on premise. The second quote addresses flexibility, even speed to market, and that's kind of hard to quantify, like how you may have expediency or flexibility of deploying a workload on premise versus a cloud and the timelines attached to that. These concepts are great to keep in mind as they can further fortify the overall business case even if they are hard to build a KPI. So let's start tapping into the core benefits of cloud migration and how you consume cloud, which is different than on premise data centers. When we think about benefits, there's two larger categories that we really take into consideration. So, one is the technical benefits, and then separate from that, but still reliant upon the technical benefits, are the financial benefits. Starting with the technical benefits, when you start looking at deploying workloads to the cloud, there's aspects of or abilities that come into play that are more limiting on premises but more accessible in the cloud. One of them being scalability, the ability to scale out your resources depending on the usage, the utilization, and the demand. Second to that is availability. On premises, it's more costly to build high available infrastructure. It's less costly to architect highly available infrastructure on the cloud. Third is security and compliance. Within the cloud, we're always adding to our security infrastructure and tool set to keep you on par with or at par with what's transpiring with respect to security threats on the global networks. Fourth is capacity optimization, meaning that you are only paying for the resources that you are actually utilizing over time. So your capacity can fluctuate depending on those particular demands. And during those load times within a business cycle, you can actually scale back resources or your overall capacity or scale up depending on what's required. um, the core concept to keep in mind is that elasticity as well as on-demand resources is a huge paradigm. It's a huge paradigm shift with respect to moving workloads to the cloud. It improves how you actually deploy and provision or deprovision resources more dynamically. On the financial side, certainly you start transforming your overall budget allocation from what has historically been a capex or capex investment to opex. So this is going to be an OPEX type pricing models that can be more fluctuating based on capacity or utilization of the cloud environment. You also benefit from the overall reduced data center footprint. Those amortized facilities or co-lo or or hosting agreements that you have in place. Those are no longer required. You also benefit from overall staffing productivity. These dev operations or DevOps type of concepts where your operation folks are more focused on automation and automating and deploying and provisioning workloads more dynamically than racking and stacking servers and dealing with HVAC or heating and cooling type of services. You also immediately benefit from a sustainability perspective. Data centers that are hosting cloud services, such as the ones we with Azure, we do at such scale that we benefit from overall sustainability and the least amount of environmental impact. So overall, you really benefit from that flexibility perspective well beyond what you're able to do on premise with respect to budget. Organizations can certainly generate substantial cash flow reduction supporting their workloads as they move to cloud environment. Here's a couple of great customer quotes from different industry verticals and the impact that they had and what they've achieved in moving their workloads to the cloud. One of the great examples is the second tier. With Maersk, they were looking for a high scalable solution that is flexible depending on overall utilization, and they were able to achieve that. Moving to the cloud versus their on-premise data centers, which were architected for the worst case scenario or high utilization, while their workloads as they were deployed to the cloud became much more flexible and dynamic. So some of the other examples certainly step through the other core customer goals of either reducing an overall cash flow requirements to support the workloads or even taking on new or additional services that would be cost um, prohibitive for customers to do on premise. The last customer focuses actually in and around machine learning services. And being able to automate some of those processes, and that's hard thing to achieve, both from a technical and financial perspective on premises, but much easier to achieve on the cloud target. All right, so now let's talk about financial considerations. As we discussed this, we bucketed the benefits of the cloud into two general areas: technical consideration and core financial consideration. So, before we deep dive into the financial considerations, I think it's important also to consider how a digital transformation of moving to the cloud will also have a parallel financial transformation. So this is generally a set of benefits when you're making the shift to the cloud. When you're making an underlying migration, there are financial considerations around how the cloud will impact your financial positioning, accounting, KPI, and processes. So things are shifting. You have dollars going from on-premises environments to cloud environments. And so thinking about how the cloud can impact your migration is really critical. In the cloud, there are different cost structures compared to on-premise. So on-premises has actually a fixed and cost structure. So it's a fixed cost structures that you have in the on-premise setup. In the cloud, you have to think about what opportunities there are to unlock value. How do you take advantage of some of the technical benefits we talked about and actually use that to increase your productivity and to increase your economic value when you make that cloud transformation. So cloud pricing can be fundamentally different from on-prem fixed structures. So understanding the opportunities the cloud can provide and how to unlock them is critical step in evaluating your digital transformation plans. So when you're going from an on-premise to the cloud, you're really shifting how you acquire capacity. You're going from an upfront cash flows or typically an upfront spend for your capacity to having in the cloud an overtime pay as you go model. So on premises, you are fixing the capacity regardless of what your demand structure looks like. Your cost structure and your capacity are both fixed. If revenue goes down and you need to reduce your IT cost structure, you are limited. You can't simply reduce it because you already purchased those assets. Whereas in the cloud, you actually can shift up and down as your IT demand or revenue generating prospects of the business change. You're able to shift that capacity up and down and utilize what we call a variable cost model as opposed to a fixed cost model. So, with the elasticity of the cloud we previously talked about, you can actually pay for what you use while also identifying consistent workloads and utilize reserve instance pricing models in order to take really the advantage of the lower price point for some of those static based workloads. When we're thinking about shifting to the cloud, one of the benefits we discussed was the shift from capex to opex. This is a transition in an on-premises environment. You tend to see spend hitting the capital expenditure category. But when you move to the cloud, what you frequently see is a movement over to operating expenses. So spend that is over time as you need it. Rather than paying for a resource up front, you are paying for the resource as you need it. This results in improving cash flow timing. So the time value of money actually matters. So by moving out my spend aligned with when I need the resources rather than upfront, I'm helping my economic situation. Additionally, you do have a fair amount of predictability relative to on premises. With on premises, I might have infrequent periodic spend like you buy once every 4 to 5 years. You have a bit of consistent inconsistency. So with the cloud, you have more consistent cash flow timing. You also have to make sure you're tracking your spend. You have to make sure you're shifting capital budgets for the operating expense budgets. But you actually effectively are able to move cash flows out to the future. Another consideration is EBITDA, a financial KPI. It's effective, we call operating income or the profits of your business. But you've added back depreciation and amortization because when we go from on-prem to the cloud, we're taking things like server depreciation and typically moving them over to the cloud spend, your EBITDA is impacted, right? So you're no longer getting to add back your depreciation. The reality is this purely financial KPI. And so again, the reality is this is a purely financial KPI. Decision making should be really focused upon cash flows and net present value decisions. But it is important to consider the shift and to plan for it. Although EBITDA may imply it, capex isn't free. Depreciation and amortization is generated by the fact that you had to buy those servers upfront. Yes, we need to consider the KPI impact, but we also want to make sure you're making decisions from a cash flow point of view as well. When we're thinking about getting out um, of data centers, we're not just exiting our data centers purely just to get out of your on premises. So we are exiting or reducing our data center footprint in a way that allows us to offload some of the lead times that were previously required when provisioning an on premises environment. So let's unpack the statement a little bit. In an on premises environment, I have a mixture of different spend categories. Capital is going to sit in things like server spend, buildings, data center costs, power and cooling, and your head count tied to racking and stacking servers. That cost structure is typically spread across a fixed cost basis. Let's say I've got 5 megawatts of capacity. Now, if I'm actually looking at the capacity I'm utilizing, I might only be using 3 of those megawatts. I have the data center space there because I know I may be growing, and so I need to have that ready for when demand comes. But the reality is, I'm spending for an entire environment but using a portion of it. And if we look at the next layer below that, server capacity, it's even a further extrapolation. I am not using my servers 24/7 as the previous chart showed. You are provisioning for peaks. You're provisioning for those maximum usage periods. When you remove from on-prem to cloud, you're able to not just reduce your data center footprint, but you're able to offload that excess capacity and lead time requirements to Microsoft. Microsoft is making sure that the capacity is there for you to spin up and spin down as you need it. So you no longer need to keep this capacity pre-provisioned. In addition to Azure cost, customers does have an upfront migration investment that creates a spend bubble. So Microsoft has different programs and investments that we can leverage on to support your migration to the cloud, like our Azure Migrate and Modernization program, where we can potentially fund the migration process of your company. Now, let's go to transitioning to Azure. So when a company is migrating to Azure, its financial statements are not immediately changed. It is a transformation process. This transformation highlights the steady state benefits of Azure and pulls together the income statement and CF importance for customers. In this view, we first show how the P&L begins to decline as a customer or you moves to Azure. So there's server depreciation, DC costs, all of these reduce as a migration occurs and we go from 100% on-prem to Azure. So if you want to learn more, visit our Azure Migration Center at azure.com/migration and our Azure Total Cost of Ownership Calculator or our TCO in azure.com/TCO if you want to see the difference it would make in your existing environment. And to learn more, you can also visit our mslearn.com. So it will give you a view of the solutions you can use with Azure. So that's our Cloud 101. Thank you so much for attending today and have a great day ahead.
All right, so that ends our Cloud 101 with Miss Anne Garcia from the Azure Business Group Lead from Microsoft. So we had a couple of questions that were answered earlier from our participants. Um, we had a question from Francis Murphy about the cloud computing working at the kernel level. So we have We replied to your question. So if you have additional questions to our speaker regarding the Cloud 101, you may just reach out to them via the information that she shared earlier. All right. So again, thank you so much to our Microsoft team, and thank you so much, Anne, um, for giving us a very insightful talk on Cloud 101. So we hope you guys, our viewers tonight, have gained something in our Cloud 101 tech session with Microsoft Philippines. And with that, I would like to invite you guys for our upcoming Stack League events for March. First, we have the Microsoft Cloud Squad. We invite you to join us as we launch the Microsoft Cloud Squad on April 9, 2022. All right, so save your seat today. So make sure to reserve your slots via aka.ms/Cloud Squad Philippines. So it's time to upskill for the future as Microsoft Philippines introduces a new kind of squad goal. So we hope to see you there. One upcoming event that we will be having also is the Stack League Draper Startup House, Future Economy in the Metaverse, and Why It Matters in the Philippines. We will be having Mr. Christian Munoz, the founder of Draper Startup House, Manila on March 30 at 6 p.m. Be sure to secure your slot at bit.ly/stackleague DSH session. That's bit.ly/stackleague DSH session. So we hope to see you there. We also have upcoming events in partnership with Recruit Day, Women in Tech. Learn from women developers how you can thrive and be successful in the IT industry, which will be happening on March 31 at 6 p.m. Register and secure your slot at bit.ly/StackLeague Recruit Day session. That's bit.ly /StackLeague Recruit Day session. So there are plenty of opportunities await for you here in Stack League, so make sure to get the latest updates from our Facebook page, or you may visit our events page at fb.com/stackleague/events for registration details and get the latest updates. So once again, this Stack League Ambassador for March is still open and is accepting entries. Earn your ambassador points now. So make sure to visit bit.ly/StackLeagueAmbassador 2022. So get a chance to win 3,000 pesos in a Stack League shirt when you become our ambassador of the month, and get a chance to win 20,000 pesos and a Stack League jacket if you become our ambassador of the year. So once again, that's bit.ly/StackLeagueAmbassador 2022. Also, make sure to earn league points to unlock the challenger levels and receive cash prizes as you level up in the competition. The Stack League Playoffs 2022 qualifier round for March is coming up. You can watch the live broadcast on our Facebook page and in our YouTube channel. So make sure to land in the weekly top 10 to be invited in the next qualifier round. So if you're interested to be part of our playoffs, you just create an account at stackleague.com and make sure that you land on the weekly top 10 so that you will be invited in our Stack League playoffs monthly. Okay. And of course, get a chance to win the prizes and earn spots in the qualifier pool. So for our top one, you will be receiving 5,000 pesos, and for the top two would be receiving 3,000 pesos. So that our first playoffs for this season will happen on March 26th at Saturday, 1 p.m. So be sure to be with us on that day. So that's all for our announcements this March. Be sure to keep updated and follow us in our Facebook page. On behalf of the Stack League team, I would like to say thank you to everybody for joining this Stack League Microsoft Tech Session Cloud 101. Once again, if you don't have a Stack League account yet, make sure to sign up now at stackleague.com. And of course, invite your friends, colleagues, and family who you think should be part of the league. See you guys in the next Stack League event. In behalf of the Stack League team, this has been your host, Isai. Good night, everyone.